Okay, we're going to start Lab 2 here. Lab 2, we're going to go over the holes again. We're also going to go over the extrusions. And then we will also learn to put ribs on parts. We've got these features down here that this is known as a rib. So we'll be able to apply those as well. When we're doing the holes, we'll do spot-faced holes, and we'll also do counterbore holes. So we'll look at a couple of different applications on that. First, we want to create an extrusion to kind of define the overall shape of the parametric solid. So to do that, I've highlighted this green face, and you can see the dimensions for that in the drawing right here. So we'll go over to the drawing and go ahead and start that sketch. So I'm going to go to the line command. Again, make sure it contacts that model origin. And we're just simply going to come up with the shape of that green face that we've got highlighted there. Again, not worrying about the size and shape necessarily too much. We can control that as we go. I'm done sketching, and we've got the two magenta lines. That means they are fixed at that model origin. So next we'll do some dimensioning. And usually it's best to start with the longer dimensions and put them in first so you don't lose the shape of your part. Note that's 4.75. And we'll go in there then and put in a dimension here on this left-hand side of 0.375. The overall height of this thing looks like it's going to be I believe that's actually 1.5 inches. Yeah. 1.5 inches here from this line to this line. 1.5. And again, you don't have to type in the zeros after that 1.5. We do have a discrepancy here. We'll address that in a minute. But we're still dimensioning. So from this line to this line, I believe it says to make that 1 inch. And then the length of this portion of the model is 2.75. Okay, and we're done dimensioning. Now notice at the very bottom right hand corner it says 1 dimension is needed. Again, we could put the dimension from this line to this line in, but I think the best thing to do here is create a constraint of collinear between this line and this line, so that those two lines will change together when we change this dimension if that's needed in our design. So that's the general shape of that sketch. So we'll simply finish the sketch. And again, I'm going to go F4 and rotate this thing around so you can see it a little bit. And I will extrude. Now, the profile is already picked because it's the only profile that we have on this model at this time. So you don't have to bother picking that when we do the very first profile. What we do need to do is tell them how far back this needs to go. And let's see, according to the drawing, here's our number right here. 2.375 is the depth of this piece. So we'll come back over here and we'll insert 2.375. And I'm going to flip the direction on this. It's coming out away from my original sketch plane, and I personally like to see it go back that direction so that I can look right at that plane that I created. And I'll simply hit OK. And we can see up here in our browser that we have created an extrusion. Now, earlier in Lab 1, I did tell you we could change the names of those. So if we click on that twice, we can change that from extrusion 1 to, let's just call it main shape. And we could even go in and change the sketch 1 if we choose to. I'm not going to do that at this time. but it does help that sometimes you make those changes so you can keep track of different areas that you're working on. Well, we've got the general shape of this created. Now we might want to go in here and cut out this area with that rectangular shape in it. So if we want to do that, we'll note that on our drawing, it says that we've got if you will, a ledge 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So that's exactly how we're going to approach this particular method. Is we're going to go in there and we're going to again create a sketch. So I'll hit the create sketch and pick the face, and our X and Y coordinate system will come up on that. Okay, with that then, what I want to do is I'm going to insert a rectangle this time. Now we have different rectangles. We can do 2-point or 3-point. I think it'll be just as easy to do the 2-point here. And we'll just define the 2 diagonal corners. And keep in mind, I could have done that with 4 lines. However, what you see with this is if I drag that, well, when I change my dimensions on this, it will update the whole rectangle at one time. You know what? I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. That is not what I want to do on this particular application. I'm going to back off of that, so I'm going to hit undo and get rid of that. I'll keep the sketch, but what I really wanted to do here, I apologize for that, is I want to do the offset command. And with the offset, notice I've got these 4 edges that it creates automatically. I'm going to grab that and bring that in, and now I have another set of lines. And the reason I do the offset is when I change one, they'll all change. So I think there's an advantage there. And so what we need to do now is put in a dimension from this line to this line of 0.25. And note now that all of those edges are 0.25. So it won't even do me any good to put a dimension here. It'll tell me that that's going to have to be a reference dimension. But notice it was 0.25. So that's the advantage of using the offset command here. I've got the 1/4 inch all the way around by putting in one dimension. If I'd have done that with that rectangle like I had done originally, I would have had to put dimensions all the way around this to control those. So that's probably not advantageous. It's much more advantageous to do this offset that we just did right here. So I'm going to finish the sketch. I'm done dimensioning. I'm going to finish the sketch. And I'm going to extrude. And I have to pick this center piece here for the profile. And again, I want to cut. And it remembered the 2.375 here from our last extrusion. Now, we don't want to make that go that deep. We want to actually go in there, and looks like that's going to be a 1/2 inch deep. If we zoom out here a little bit, we'll note that that cutout for that rectangle is a 1/2 inch. So we'll go in